This is the story of Abraham and Isaac, a breathtaking tale of faith and obedience. Get comfortable, because today you're going to hear a story that has inspired millions and challenged countless hearts to think more deeply about trust. Let's dive in. Abraham was chosen by God, not because he was perfect, but because he had a heart willing to obey. God had given Abraham a promise. That promise was to make him the father of many nations, despite the fact that both he and his wife Sarah were far beyond childbearing years. And yet, the promise of God came true. Sarah bore a son, and they named him Isaac, meaning laughter, as he brought immense joy to their old age. But as Isaac grew, a test of faith like no other came knocking. One day, God spoke to Abraham, and he said, "Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Yes, you heard that right. God told Abraham to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac, the child of promise. Now, imagine the weight of those words. Imagine Abraham's trembling hands and quivering heart. Why would the God who gave the promise now take it away? And yet, in spite of his questions and the unimaginable pain, Abraham obeyed. Early the next morning, he prepared for the journey. He took Isaac, 2 servants, and the wood for the sacrifice. For 3 long days they traveled. Every step must have felt like a heavy blow to Abraham's heart. Yet, he kept moving forward in obedience. When they reached the base of the mountain, Abraham said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Wait, did you catch that? Abraham's faith was so strong that he told the servants they both would come back. He believed that even if it meant sacrificing Isaac, God could bring him back to life if necessary. Abraham and Isaac climbed the mountain together. Isaac saw the wood and fire, but noticed something missing. "Father," he asked, "the fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham replied, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." Such faith, even in this moment of unimaginable sorrow. Once they reached the top, Abraham built the altar and arranged the wood. Then, with tears likely streaming down his face, he bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar. He reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But in the blink of an eye, an angel of the Lord called out from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Suddenly, Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught by its horns in a bush. God had indeed provided. Abraham took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son, and he called that place, "The Lord Will Provide." You see, this story isn't just about obedience. It's about trusting God even when you don't understand his plan. It's about believing in his goodness, even when it doesn't make sense. Abraham passed the ultimate test of faith, and God honored his promise. Isaac lived, and through his lineage came the fulfillment of God's ultimate promise, Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. So what do we learn from this story? Faith doesn't always have guarantees or easy paths, but it always requires trust. And when we trust God, even in the hardest moments, he provides, often in ways we could never imagine. Ask yourself, where could you trust God more in your life today? The Lord doesn't ask for sacrifices like he did with Abraham, but he does ask for our hearts, our trust, and our obedience.